Hey friends, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining me on another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Rode Wireless Pro system and my experience of using it out, recording in the great outdoors in different types of trails out there. I want to tell you about the positives that I came across, the negatives, and whether or not this is actually a relevant wireless microphone system in 2025 going into 2026. Stick around and find out. Now, first of all, the camera system that I use is a GoPro Hero 11 system. And I tend to go with GoPros just because when I'm out on the trail, I need something that's portable, that's small, and that is durable, that is going to withstand the ruggedness of hiking in the great outdoors. And GoPros tend to do it for me in general. Now, the thing about action cameras is that they don't have the best audio quality out there. GoPros have multiple different microphones around the camera, and you tend to pick up a lot of background noise as well. That's not always ideal, especially if you just want to record your voice when it comes to audio. And that is what led me to getting a wireless microphone system. Now, the audio quality for this has been great. It has been fantastic, and it really does focus on picking up my voice pretty well without picking up a whole lot of stuff going on in the background, and that's certainly something that I wanted. In addition to that, the dynamics and the audio quality has just been great. You know, it has a lot of depth, it has a lot of warmth. You can put it into your editing software and go ahead and dial it in even more using the EQ levels and different filters, different effects, if you choose to go that route, or just out of the camera, straight out of the camera. It's pretty great as well. And I have had no problems with the audio quality, with any breaks or glitches, anything like that. It has been pretty fantastic so far. Now, the second thing that I really did like about this system is the amount of accessories that are provided for this system. You definitely get your money's worth. I mean, you got wind muffs here, you got magnets if you want to go ahead and go that route. Those are available to you. You got the lavalier lockers right here. You got the cable that would actually connect it to your camera setup. The lavaliers. You got the two cases, the charging case as well as the accessory case. You have all kinds of different things here. And it's fantastic because one, it tells me that I got my money's worth. And then two, if I don't want to record with just, the square right here, got the lavalier action going right here, I can definitely go that route. So I really did enjoy that it has all these accessories and that you don't feel like you're actually losing out. And another thing to keep in mind is that when it comes to accessories, there are certain brands out there that don't include all the necessary accessories, and they make you actually purchase those in addition to the main setup. Why? Because they want to make some more money. And with Rode, I like that because it is a pro system, they give you a pro setup. So that's pretty fantastic. Another thing I did appreciate about this was the ease of use. Using this setup was pretty easy in my experience. Granted, I had to look up a couple of YouTube videos where they talk about the ins and outs of using the system, how to go about doing different things and go through the menus and things like that. But overall, it's not a very complicated system, at least it wasn't for me. And I really did appreciate that. It's not rocket science. And it just assured me that just because it is a pro system doesn't mean that it has to be a complex system to use. Something else that I really do appreciate about this system is the app layout. Now, in order to go deeper into the menus and into the settings, it's recommended by Rode to actually download their app and navigate through the different menus on your computer using the app. And for the most part, it's pretty easy to navigate through. It's very user-friendly. You could get pretty in-depth in there, changing the different settings on the different mics and on the receiver as well. Now, there has been some criticism about that, some creatives saying that they don't actually like that. They would love to have everything available on the receiver itself to be able to navigate through the menus that way. I personally don't mind it. I think it's pretty cool that you can actually do that and go more in depth on your computer to be able to get into those settings. So that worked out pretty good for me. Now, another thing I appreciated about this system is the overall battery life. Now, I was able to get about 3 days worth of battery life from just one charge. And when I say 3 days worth, I'm talking about day hikes. So a day hike would consist anywhere from like 4 to 8 hours, approximately, covering anywhere from like 5 miles to 7 miles to 14 miles. And it would be about that. Now, the way I would use these is that I would actually have these off the majority of the time and only turn them on and record when I was recording audio. And it seemed to work pretty good for me doing it that way. I know there's other users out there who record the whole time and have it on the whole time, and hey, that's great. That's the way you roll. That's fantastic. But for me, it just it turned out to be pretty good. So that is definitely something that I did appreciate with this system. Now, next is the Muffs system. Now, this package, this setup actually comes with some Muffs that you can actually put onto your wireless microphone here. And it also has Muffs for the lavalier microphone as well. And it works pretty good at minimizing strong wind levels and saving your audio. As a matter of fact, the first time I actually used this system, my wife and I were actually in some Badlands area in the desert, and the wind got pretty aggressive out there, pretty strong. But I was able to save the audio and be able to use it because I had the Muffs with me. There have been other times when I didn't actually have a wireless microphone system and I was using the action camera audio, and it was terrible. And the wind just killed the audio coming from the action camera. I mean, it was pretty unusable at times. And what I ended up doing is I had to still use the footage, but I had to overdub audio on top of that, which means it's more work at the end of the day. So with these Muffs though, it saves you that. Next has been the portability of these wireless microphones. And the portability is great. It's a great size. It works for me, for what I need to do. And it's proven to be a trustworthy system when it comes to that. Now, there are critics out there who criticize the size of this wireless microphone and that it could be a lot smaller, and I understand those critiques, but for what I do and, for my purposes, it doesn't really bother me. And plus, if I actually want to conceal this more, I can definitely just go and use the lavalier wireless microphone system. It proves to be pretty versatile, but the portability is not a problem, and it was great out there on the trail. Something else I wanted to point out is that these wireless microphones are actually pretty light. I don't really get a sense like I'm carrying a whole lot of weight with these. I'm already carrying a lot of stuff in my pack already, but to have these in addition to all the rest of my gear, I don't really feel it a whole lot. It doesn't bog me down, it doesn't get in the way, it's not intrusive, and it's, for what it is, this is actually a pretty light system, and even lighter if you go with the lavalier microphone like this. Another standout of this wireless microphone system, I really did appreciate that the logo is actually a little bit muted compared to their other wireless microphones there, where they actually make it nice, blunt and bold to be able to put their logo on their product. And I get it, I totally understand it. I come from a advertising background, so it makes total sense. But I did appreciate that. Now, for those who actually don't like the logo still on there, there is a solution. You can actually find a sleeve system that you can put over your wireless microphones that hide the logo, and it does that, and it also protects your wireless microphone system as well. So there's a solution for that. But for me, it doesn't really bother me. I do use the sleeves though, just because I want to protect my stuff as much as I can out there, especially when I'm out there on the trail. You know, I'm in the deserts, I'm in the mountains, I'm in the forest, you know, I'm in different areas, and I definitely want to protect the stuff that I have, you know, so that is one idea. Now, something else I did appreciate about this system is that it does come with a chargeable case, and it actually feels pretty durable. You could actually take this out there on the trail if you so desire. I don't actually take the case with me. I just take the microphones, you know, with the sleeves in a plastic bag, and I'm good to go. I don't know. I like to travel light, so that's just the way I roll. But it is pretty cool that you can actually have a case and have it chargeable as well. So that is an added bonus that I've come across using this system. Now, something that was really game-changing for me was the ability to be able to do complex shots and having the freedom to do so. Now, when I'm using an action camera system, I don't have a whole lot of freedom because I have it mounted onto a selfie stick and I'm pretty much tethered to that selfie stick. I can't walk away from the camera for too long because I can't pick up the audio, and it just sounds worse the further away I get from it, obviously. So with the wireless microphone system, I have that freedom to be able to achieve complex shots, walking away from the camera, using drone shots, and even by myself, I'm able to achieve those. Yeah, so it's really amazing. You know, I finally was able to get here to the top of the crest, and the views are just phenomenal. They're just outstanding. Amazing, fantastic views of the Sandias from here. And what else can you ask for? You know, especially on a beautiful day like this, weather like this, you simply cannot beat how these views look like. It's just amazing. And that has helped me a great deal to be able to be way more creative out there than I was used to. Something else that I really did appreciate about using the system out in the great outdoors is that I can actually see the screen here pretty good overall when it comes to being out there. Now, there are times when I've been in the desert and I haven't had that problem. You know, the screen is pretty visible. But usually when I'm out there, I have no problem, you know, making out all the details on the screen. So that is another plus when it comes to using this system overall. Now, one of the negatives that I found with this system is that when it comes to the front face right here of the receiver, there is no touchscreen system. And, you know, honestly, that really isn't a big deal for me. But I know there are creatives out there who that is a big deal, you know. It seems like nowadays a lot of things out there have touchscreens, whether it be phones or tablets or even laptops. All kinds of different things out there nowadays have a touch screen system. We're so used to having that, and when we don't see that, we freak out, and we don't really like that. But for me, it really isn't a deal breaker. It'd be nice if it actually had it, but I'm not going to stop using it. You know, it's too much of a fantastic system to actually just say that that is going to be the deal breaker for me. So, but just something to be mindful of. Another thing to be mindful of is that this size may not be suitable for everyone. Now, like I was mentioning earlier, the size of this, the square, doesn't really, it's not a big deal for me. Again, if I really wanted to conceal this, I would use a lavalier microphone system. But, you know, just something to be mindful of, that it is a little bit bigger than other brands out there. I know nowadays, you know, it seems like we want to go smaller and smaller with everything. I mean, I don't think we're going to be completely satisfied until we have a wireless microphone system where the microphone is the size probably smaller than the head of a dime. But anyway, you know, I think there's ways around it. But for the whole package that I'm able to get, and bottom line, the audio quality that I'm able to get with this, doesn't really bother me. Now, something else to be mindful of when it comes to the receiver information right here, you are limited to the amount of information that you're able to see on there. Again, you'll get a whole layout of what is offered in the system in the computer app. Some people don't like that. They like to see everything in the unit itself. Now for me, it is kind of a drawback, but it's not a deal breaker. It's something that I've gotten used to. And again, if I want the full depth of features and to really go into the system and change different things, I have no problem using the app on the computer. But that is kind of a drawback though. Hey everybody, Future Steven here. There is one more negative that I wanted to mention here, and I think it has more to do with the audio from other cameras that you're recording with more than the Rode Wireless Pro. Take for example, there have been a couple of times, maybe 3 times, where I have been in windy conditions outside and I had the wind muff on the Wireless Pro, but I didn't have any sort of wind muff on the GoPro. So when I'm recording audio, the wind's blowing and it just sacrifices the audio. You can't even hear what I'm saying. And I've discovered that trying to sync the GoPro audio with the Wireless Pro audio in my editing software, it becomes very, very challenging to try and sync that up. And I'm not really using timecode. So what I end up doing, I have to do that manually, which is kind of a pain in the rear. So I think the ideal situation, especially in windy conditions, is to have both the camera with a wind muff and the Rode Wireless Pro with the wind muff to actually get a really good sync with both of them, and I just thought I'd mention it. Okay, so what is the final verdict when it comes to using the Rode Wireless Pro system? You know what? It has been a fantastic system to use, and I would buy it again. I haven't had a whole lot of problems with it. It has been reliable. The audio quality is fantastic. It is light, it is portable, and it has different ways to be versatile. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's 2 thumbs up for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Drop me a comment, drop me a comment of whether or not you're actually gonna get this, if you're using it, if you like it, if you don't like it. Perhaps you're using another system entirely and you have disagreements with what I said in this video. Hey, let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Share it with your friends, and don't forget to get into the great outdoors and be epic.